There's an impulsive desire to fix, to be hero of the story, to swoop down and rescue for some white people. And it also comes from a place of superiority and or desire to be forgiven. It feeds on something called white saviors industrial complex. You know, the phrase that was coined by a most famous professor in Harvard. I'll let you guys figure that out. I'll even give you another clue. It was done in 2012. You see, white savior industrial complex is not about justice. It's about having a big emotional experience that validates privilege. There's so much more to doing good work than making a difference. There's a principle of first do no harm. There is the idea that those who are being helped to ought to be consulted over the matters that concern them. Of course, white and black together, this can be difficult to understand and to get right. But it's definitely for the white people. Think what they're doing is right, but without understanding the consequences. A lot of people did a lot of things in history. They thought it was right, but did a whole lot of damage to everyone else. Of course, we can't affect it at systemic levels like we want to unless we change policy. And policy is the only way that we can get there. Showcasing poverty. What irritates me a whole lot is I see white people using black photos of children dancing and getting joy. And they do it on LinkedIn like that's a business privilege. What are you doing? Would you put your child up there to do that? That's somebody else's child. But yet, I see that happen over and over again. The black children, black voices, silenced by the laughter of the white communities. Don't underestimate the power of one-dimensional storytelling and representation on how it can form the world and its views. Don't underestimate it. I still recall this little picture of this little boy that's been all over the internet. And I think he's from, one of the African countries. And his cute little face. And he's dancing. And he has a distended belly. And the caption, something like, "This is how happy you should be in life." Really? Did you really think that was okay? Did you absolutely think that was okay? Probably not. But that white privilege gave you the right or gave you the notion that you can do that. And that doesn't hurt anybody. Being an ally means being able to recognize this. To me, an ally is a person who advocates and works against the black community. Those bad works anyway, and then works alongside, like arm in arm, who uplifts communities for a shared common goal, driven solely by the cause. Not so that they can look good. Not so they can have a media op. Is a person who wants to learn how to recognize what everyday racism looks like. See, most of the time we don't want to, white people, you don't want to recognize what everyday racism looks like. Because you can't even bring yourself to say the color black. And that's in the crayon box. We need to recognize this from white people. We need to recognize this from pay, inequality, social persecution. We need to address it and not sit there. Because guess what we're doing? When you're sitting there, you're not an ally. You're an accomplice to the things that whoever is saying is correct. All the actions that you're taking as a manager or supervisor or instructor or a doctor that are against a race of people, and you're doing it for systemic reasons or a learned behavior that you don't want to admit that you have, you are committing murder. You're committing murder. You're harming the mental well-being of people, of a race of people. You're creating physical harm. So you're putting your knee on the necks of their mental health, the necks of them in general, breaking them down. When you don't pay your staff equally, and you know it's wrong. When you don't pay women and men the same, and they're doing the same exact job. When you don't pay your essential workers the way that you should, you are complicit in murder. Just as that George Floyd incident, you're complicit. And if you notice, there were a number of people involved. Count them and count this systemic injustice we have, and you'll see they equal the same amount of, symbolically meaning all of those systems that are against us, that don't hold us up. At the same time as being asked not to speak on the behalf of black folks and people of color, and you just got to listen. Stop just listening and start doing. If you're held in fear of doing the wrong thing, but having a strong desire to do something and still don't do nothing, you're an accomplice and complicit. It is a person who learns to actively listen. And when I say actively listen, I mean do something as you actively listen. You refeed it right back to them. That's what I mean. And doing something about it. To respond rather than to react. And take consideration and thoughtful actions. And welcome the feedback on inherent racism without spiraling out of control. It is a person who accepts there is no certificate or completion date. To accept they will be going wrong and do it anyway. That not many people are going to like what they do because it's racist, because your actions as a group is racist, and they pull you out and not give you a misogynistic time to get right or to accept that you're no longer going to be in that position. Everyone involved in that is complicit. It's the wrong approach. Racism has to be uprooted, has to be told about. And if you sit under that for years and years, and you're responsible for what messes that are out there in the community now. You've done nothing. You've made no corrections. You've not made your community better than the next community. You only hid it. You made it a little bit worse for the legacy of your children, the ones that you're not going to be able to see. It's a sad thing. So how do you get back to where you need to be? I just said it before. Do no harm. That means acknowledging and getting curious about where the innate desire to rescue black people inside of you, white people, some white people, that you want to be one of the good white people and come rescuing us with food. That means being conscious of your motives to help and being really honest. You see, anti-racism isn't about claiming to be the fountain of all knowledge, because I don't know everything. And I'm sure the biggest leaders in anti-racism do not know everything. Do not know all the history. Do not know all the books. Did not watch all the documentaries. But we do. But we do work. We do the work. We do not boots in the ground, but feet on the ground, touching the ground. But we do. This is about working alongside, supporting, accepting. You are going to be wrong. And you might get it wrong. But you show up anyway because you want to get it right. It means accepting that anything worthy of systemic change will not happen without discomfort, consistency, and a whole heap of courage. If you're ever in doubt, dear white people, ask yourself, am I acting because it's the right thing to do? To be the center of attention? Or am I doing this for myself, to feel better and make myself look good? I hope you be a good ally, because all of this dumps on the shoulders of good people that really want to do good things. And good people, such as myself, you have to take time out to take care of yourself. Because you can't save everyone in the world. But those that you can save, you save them when you can. But not before you help yourself. And you have to feel good. You have to feel good and be yourself. So I'm just saying, take care of yourself. People. White people, if you really want to be anti-racist, be an ally. Don't be phony. Don't be fake. And know what you're doing. And don't pretend like you don't know. Because you do know. Acknowledge black. Because we are history. Without any black, there wouldn't be any history. You know it as well as we do. Acknowledge that. And be willing to have that conversation so easily and so open. Stop choking on your spit and all that. This is Edna White. Talk to you real soon.